Hi, this is Ivey, the fulfillment artist, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to increase your memory power. So why do I think I'm an expert at this topic? Well, because I wrote a book on memory years ago, and it's called How to Dominate Any Exam. It was like basically all these different techniques that you can do to have, whether it's short term or long term, to really help you move forward. I'll put a link in the description, you can check it out. But in this video, what I wanted to focus on was the best thing for the long term with regards to learning pretty much anything, what you need to do. And then 3 awesome techniques if you're learning things for the short term and have something coming up where you really need to just remember things better. So the short term technique is basically spaced repetition, right? And what people have found out who are memory experts around the world is that if we use something called spaced repetition, it helps us retain something in our minds. So if you imagine, let's say you remember something once. What happens is you remember it and then it will slowly start to drift off and it will drift out of your consciousness. So when it's out, then you've got to relearn it and start again, right? So what often happens is we forget something and then we're like, oh, okay, I've got that, we remember it again, and we lose it, and then we remember it again, and it just goes on that cycle. Instead, what you can do is if you wait a certain amount of time before it passes through this threshold, you can learn it again. And then as it slowly subsides, you can learn it again. And these spaced repetitions and these different analytics can really help us move forward, right? So I wanted to keep it pretty simple. The best way to do this is the following, right? So let's say you've learned something new. This is what you're going to do. You're going to review it straight away, okay? Review it straight away. Then 24 hours after, then 1 week after, then 3 weeks, then 3 months. Okay, in that order. And what happens is that will solidify it into your long term so you can access it. And this is for something that you want to learn for the long term, whether this is languages, whether this is something that you have to know for your work all the time. This is one of the best ways to do it. Instead of you constantly forgetting and then having to relearn, it makes it so much more effective. So you can look into spaced repetition with everything that you do. You can set up reminders. If you look at the app called Memorize by Ed Cook, he uses spaced repetition. I mean, there's loads of stuff out there. I would say check it out, create your own system depending on how you want to boost your memory, and then push it forward from there. Next is long term. So 3 different things. The first one is going to be memory palace. So the memory palace is awesome. I used it all the time with learning, and it's just a fantastic thing. So the best way for me to show you this is for you to experience it for yourself. So if you can close your eyes whilst watching this video, close your eyes. And now I want you to imagine that you're looking at your bed, and on your bed you see a sheep drinking gin whilst playing ping pong. Okay, and now open your eyes. So within 3 seconds, you can hopefully remember the image, right? It was, if you can remember it, a sheep drinking gin whilst playing ping pong. What happens is you make associations with these images to help you learn very quickly. So this is how people memorize decks of cards. This is how people remember binary digits. This is pretty much how the experts in the world memorize anything. So in our example here, you just learned the current Chinese chairman, Xi Jinping. You made associations with the very beginning of the word, so Xi, sheep, Xi, right? Jin, jin, and then ping, ping pong, so Xi Jinping, right? And the beautiful thing about these associations, what happens is, depending on what it is that you're learning, you will learn to associate an image with that thing. And then after you've learned the sort of system, then you apply it in your mind and it becomes much easier. And the beautiful thing is the more crazy, the more outrageous, the more ridiculous you make it, the easier it is for your mind to remember, because you have to bear in mind that we're incredibly visual beings, right? If I tell you to remember the word table, that's different if I tell you to, okay, imagine a table in front of you, because then you make all these different associations. You've got the color, you've got the size, you have like all the different like indentations on the table, like all these different things. So the memory palace techniques is brilliant, and if you really want to look into this, there's so much stuff to check out. Just type in like memory palace as examples on YouTube or whatever, and it's very fascinating. Next is associations. So similar to the memory palace where we made associations in your mind, instead you're going to make associations outside of your mind. but this is in a sort of slightly different way. So the example that I'm going to give you is going to be with names. So how often in life do we forget people's names? All the time, right? People will literally say, oh, my name is Brian, and you're like, okay, nice to meet you. And then you're like, oh my God, I don't know what his name is. So with this example of Brian, let's do the following. So when I say the word Brian, what image comes to mind? Okay, so we're looking for an associative image. And here you may think of, okay, maybe a brain. Okay, brain. So then what you do is you look at a feature on Brian. So let's say, I'm Brian, and you're like, okay, well, I don't know, maybe like my eyebrow, something like that. So you imagine a brain on my eyebrow, okay? Or something like that. So let's say, I don't know, he may have like some funky hair, he may have like a cool tie, like whatever it is. But the whole point is that you make that association, and it's so ridiculous. You obviously don't tell this person, oh, I just imagined a brain coming out of your ear because you have really big ears. No, right? You keep it to yourself, obviously. But then once you've done that, it really helps you just to remember that person. You look at them and it makes you laugh. You have the association and you'll never forget a name again. Now, there'll be some names which are more difficult, like, I don't know, maybe you meet someone called Azkabati. Okay, that's, I don't know, Azkabati, right? So the best thing to do here is to chunk it. So you're like, right, Azkabati, right? So what do I think of this, right? So I maybe think of an axe, I'm not sure why, axe, Azka, so I imagine a car, bar, T. So I would imagine an axe, a car driving along a bar, hitting some tea. Right, and you're like, oh, Azkabati, right? It doesn't need to be exact, but it will just remind you of that in your mind. So you may look at his head, put a bar there, imagine an axe and then a car and then going into some tea, and you're like, oh, Azkabati, right? That's a really quick way. And you can see how quick that association is, right? So practice this, right? With any of these things, if you don't practice it, then you never know. So I would say go out from here, practice that one, and it's pretty interesting the results that you can get. Next is the story method. So a story method is pretty interesting. It's where you make constant links, and let's say you need to remember lots of numbers or other things, then this is a great one to use. So the number that we're going to learn is 07240518726. Now the first thing is that most people chunk numbers. Okay, so when someone says their phone number, they'll be like, oh, my number is 07524342785, right? And someone says that, and then isn't it funny when someone repeats it back, but they don't chunk in that way? It's confusing. They're like, oh, so you mean 07532872452. You know what I mean? Like it's hilarious. So how does the story method work? So basically you have associations with numbers that help you remember them really, really quickly. Okay, so you have to learn basically 10 images to associate with 10 numbers. Right, and I can give you basically a really, really easy one, right? So I might as well put it on screen and I'll go through it. So 0 is a football, 1 tree, 2 swan, 3 handcuffs, 4 boat, 5 hook, 6 elephant, 7 table, 8 snowman, 9 balloon. Okay, so it's pretty simple. So with the number that we're going to learn, which is 07240518726, how does this translate? Okay, so the first one is we've got 07, right? So O for us is football and 7 is a table. So you just imagine a football going onto a table. All right, what happens then? Then a swan flies over in a boat, right? And then catches a football. And then what happens is we've got a hook falls down, lands on a tree and then hooks up a snowman. And then what happens is we have a table and a swan pushes the table over and it hits into an elephant. Right? And in essence, you basically make a story with these numbers in like little chunking forms, like little mini stories. You tie them all together and it helps you remember those digits, right? So maybe put someone's number that you want to know, do it in the story method, and then just picture it in your house, picture it somewhere that you know, and it will really help you move forward. So with this, I'd say repetition is the mother of all learning, right? So you just need to keep repeating and practicing a lot of these techniques. Everything that I'm telling you, you've got to implement. Because if you don't implement, then it's just a waste of time. So with that, I really hope you can boost your memory power and learn whatever it is that you want to learn, and I'll speak to you very soon.